Feast TV is brought to you with the support from Missouri Wines, Caldy's Coffee, Old Time Produce, and the Raphael Hotel.
Cheers to local wine. I'm Cat Neville, and this is Feast TV. The local wine industry is one of the gems of our region, and from light, bright sparklers to deep, dark Nortons, you can find just about any kind of wine produced right here at home. And if you've never had a chance to go to one of our harvests, you are in luck. Our first stop in this episode is at Edg-Cliff, which is near Potosi. I'm here at Edgecliff in Potosi, Missouri, and today I'm going to learn how to harvest wine grapes. Come with me into the vineyard. Hey, Sarah.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
What kind of grapes are these?
So these are a Chambourcin grape. It's our biggest crop here. We actually make 8 wines out of this Chambourcin grape. So whether it's sweet, dry, semi-sweet, we kind of make it all out of this grape. It's our biggest harvest. We'll be picking beginning of September, and we'll probably pick all through October.
Well, and it's so fun because you actually get to go into the fields with your friends and harvest these wines, and then you work at the winery year-round, so you're pouring the wines that you've helped harvest.
Right. So there's something about it, watching the whole process and then knowing like the next year that you're pouring that wine. It's cool.
So we've harvested the Chambourcin grapes, and now it's time to go and crush. Follow me. So you grew up here on the farm.
Yes.
It was a cattle operation and a hog operation.
Yes.
When and why did you turn it into a vineyard?
Well, that is a long story, but the short of it is Steffi, my sister, who is a landscape designer and horticulturist, has always wanted to grow something here at Edgecliff. So we have these huge organic vegetable gardens down the hill, and it was actually a friend of hers who made the suggestion that she put grapes in here. And everybody said, oh my gosh, you'd be crazy not to plant grapes. So the ground is very fertile because we had cattle on it for 65 years. And we planted our Chambourcin in spring of 2008. And by September of 2010, we had our first harvest.
In 2 years?
Yes.
Wow, that's unusual.
Yes, very unusual.
How many types of grapes are you growing here?
We're growing 3 different kinds of French American hybrid grapes. The Chambourcin is our biggest crop. We have 4 acres of the Chambourcin.
And so out of the Chambourcin, for example, how many different kinds of wine are you making?
Okay.
A bunch.
Yes, a lot. But right now, I think on the shelf we have 9 different styles of wine made with Chambourcin grapes right now, and we're also making ports. So we've got a couple of barrels of port in here too.
And including your rosés are made from the Chambourcin. The rosés here are delicious. We're going to try some later. So the grapes are hand-picked?
Yes.
And why do you hand-pick rather than using a machine?
Well, we're a very small winery. The expense of bringing in that machinery is a little cost prohibitive to do it, but we also think that by doing everything by hand, we're getting the best quality of fruit. And we do have other wineries who want to buy grapes from us, and then they use our grapes to make their wines because they know they've been babied to death.
And so what do you love most about the winemaking process? Because it really is an artistic, very craft-driven process. You do have to baby all your vines for all of those months.
Right.
Then you have to harvest and kind of decide what you're going to do with the wines from there.
Right. In here, what we're trying to do is just control that process of what's going to occur by picking out the yeast that we want to use, be able to get the flavor profiles we want, and by taking care of it that way. I love that process. I love being artistic, I love being creative, I love cooking. So for me, it answers all of those kinds of creative needs that I have inside me. So yeah, it's very fun.
And I think that Cindy has some rosés that have been in kind of the tank for just a little bit.
Right, they've been fermenting only for a few days. So let's go look at them.
Okay, let's go.
When we make these two different rosés, it's the exact same grape. They were harvested one day apart.
That's amazing.
They're very different in color, but also the profile that you get from the nose of this juice already is changing. And it's because of the different yeast that I have used. So it's bringing out a different flavor profile from the same kind of grape, the same kind of juice.
Both made with Chambourcin.
Yes.
Different
yes.
yeast.
Yes.
Completely different aroma,
right.
different mouthfeel, different
much
flavor.
More citrusy in this one, and this one has a lot of berries. Yeah.
The magic of yeast, it's incredible.
It is.
This is awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Maybe we should go and try some of the finished wine.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Let's go.
So this is a very interesting harvest on the rosé. It turned out a little more ruby. You know, every year the grapes are different, but we love the taste of this. It still has that great strawberry, raspberry flavor in there, but dry. We like to say sort of like a Provence style rosé, which are so popular now.
The color of this is so strikingly different from what we just saw
up there.
It's amazing. I mean, look at that.
Every vintage is different. This is actually the 2014.
Tasty. I love rosé. And Chambourcin rosé, it has such a wonderful, again, very fruit forward, but still incredibly dry. This is not a sweet rosé.
No, just enough acids to make it interesting.
That's good.
Yeah. So I'm going to have you try our regular Chambourcin. So this is the one that we were actually harvesting for today when you were harvesting. This particular one we do not age in oak barrels because we like the juice so much, but it's still a light, dry wine. It's made with a very light yeast, so you're tasting Chambourcin.
Chambourcin is a wonderful wine. It is fruit forward and juicy. It's almost like baking spices and those red fruits like blackberries and raspberries.
Definitely blackberry, dark cherry in there a bit.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
All right, it's time to pick a bottle and relax here at the vineyard. Thank you, Steffi.
Thank you.
It's been fun visiting the folks here at Edgecliff, and now we are headed to meet the team at Amigoni, which is an urban winery located right in the heart of Kansas City.
My grandfather, who immigrated from Milan, he made wine. So I wanted to follow in my grandfather's footsteps. I started making wine in my basement. And then the natural progression for winemakers is to use real product. So I planted 40 Cabernet Franc in my backyard in Leawood, Kansas. We had the opportunity to buy 10 acres of land about 50 minutes east of Kansas City. And I thought, well, I'll just plant 1 acre of grapes there, and then 1 acre turned into 6 acres. At one point I realized there's not very much money in selling grapes, it's in making the wine. We really didn't think a lot of people would want to go to Centerview, Missouri, which is a really small town, and have a country winery. And so we thought, why not have it in the city? And at that time, there was very few urban wineries in the country, but we were one of the first, and we thought this would be a good concept to bring the wine to the people of the city. So we opened a really small shop in 2007, and we were only open on Fridays. And we made like 4 barrels of wine, and then this building came up in 2011, and we started renovation on this, and then it exploded. An urban winery has a lot of appeal. It also has steady business year-round. So we're as busy in January as we are in August.
So we were just in your gorgeous barrel room that's attached to kind of the tasting area, but this really is kind of the heart of the winery where the wine is sitting here and aging.
Yes, we've got about 100 barrels in here.
And these are Missouri made?
They're all Missouri oak.
So what kind of flavor are you getting out of these barrels?
Initially you get vanilla and chocolate, and then as the barrel gets older, you get a little bit more nutmeg and spices.
What are we going to taste today?
We're going to taste a 2015 Cabernet Franc.
So it's been sitting here for 2 years?
2 years, yes.
When do you think you're going to bottle it?
We'll probably bottle it this spring.
Let's give it a taste. That's good. That's delicious. So what are the different types of wines that you are producing here?
Well, from our vineyard, we produce 5 red varietals and 2 white varietals. Cabernet Franc, which is our flagship, Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Verdot, Mourvedre, Malbec.
And you're growing that in Missouri?
Yes.
And so today we had a chance to come in to see a crush, and tell me about the wine that we were just taking a look at.
Well, we have a wine club that we wanted to make small lots of different varietals. And so we brought in a ton of Shiraz and a ton of Sangiovese.
Oh, nice. We saw all that beautiful red juice. It's now in a very large container. It's going to ferment there, correct?
It's almost done fermenting.
Okay.
It fermented in the open macro bin, and then we'll pump it into barrel.
And so the wine that we saw being pressed today, how long will that be in the barrel for your wine club?
Probably at least a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
Or a year.
And that's one of the things I love about the winemaking industry is, I mean, it's a very long process.
Very long process from planting to making wine.
Yeah. So doing the barrel tasting, now I'm ready to taste some of those wines that are actually in the bottle, that fully formed Amigoni wine. So can we head into the tasting room and meet up with Hillary, taste some wines?
I think we should.
All right, let's go. Now it's my favorite part of this entire experience. We're going to taste some wines with Hillary. And you have traveled the entire state of Missouri just because you love Missouri wine so much.
I do. On my day off, you can usually find me at another winery. So it's fun to travel around and meet other people and see what they're doing and try their wines. This is Urban Rosé. It's a dry French-style rosé. It's made from Cabernet Franc.
This is the real way to make a rosé, which is with red grapes. This is delicious, and I'm going to drink the whole thing. I'm not going to dump this.
I'm glad. All right, up next is our 2015 Cabernet Franc. This is special to us. Cabernet Franc was the first vine that Michael planted. First wine we made, our first commercial vintage of Cabernet Franc was 2006. So this is a 2015, nice darker fruits, a little spice, a little vanilla.
Kansas City barbecue and this wine
Agreed.
Are a perfect match.
Absolutely. And actually, the Cabernet Franc just took home a gold at the Finger Lakes International Wine Competition.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So
that's
we're pretty
fantastic.
proud of that.
So when people come in and they want to do a tasting, how do you introduce them to kind of the concept of an urban winery? Do they assume that all these wines are made somewhere else?
You know, everyone's different. Sometimes if you've never been to a winery or a tasting room before, it can be slightly intimidating. So we all walk them through the entire process of how the tasting works, what their options are, and explain to them what we do and why we do it.
What is it about winemaking that you love so much?
It's a story in a bottle. It is a reflection of everything that happened that year. And also, I think a big part of it is sharing it with others. It's fun.
That's great. Our last stop in the episode is here at Chaumette Vineyards and Winery in Ste. Genevieve County. They're known for their award-winning restaurant, and we're going to get into the kitchen with Chef Rob Beasley. Let's go.
Here at Chaumette, aside from the incredible view to wake up to every day, because I'm fortunate enough to be able to live here as well, is the opportunity to work with some great ingredients, to see the wine from the grapes being grown to being made, to being bottled, to consuming it, to tasting it throughout the process. And then to take some of the great produce that is available in the summer and some of the beautiful proteins that we're able to get. And a lot of it is coming, from within 20, 30 miles of us. So that right there alone is a huge appeal for me. Food and wine definitely are a match made in heaven. We use a lot of wine in cooking. The better the ingredient we start with, the easier it is to make a great product. And here we're able to grow really nice grapes, and we do put a lot of love and care into the production of it and to the wine. And same with the food. So putting them together is a balance of we may need a little more acid from the wine to help offset the chicken and brighten it up without using so much sodium. And we may need the tannins, from maybe the Norton to wake up the filet to cut through some of the fat so you don't have the mouthfeel. There are certain basic pairings that make sense, from a culinary standpoint. But at the end of the day, you need to drink what you like and enjoy.
So now we're here in the kitchen, and you're going to be making a Moroccan chicken dish. Where do you get your chickens again?
These chickens come from Ladd's Family Farm.
And you use a lot of local meat and produce, and cheeses too.
We do.
But you said that when the farmers are actually bringing stuff to you, they'll ask you what you're going to do with it, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of times we truly don't have an idea until we get it. You play with it. Sometimes we order stuff we've never even heard of, and then we'll get it, taste it, touch it, feel it, smell it, and cook it.
It's a real taste of Missouri. I mean, it's like the fruit for the wines are grown right out here, and all the produce and meats are grown within like 25, 30 miles.
Literally,
Awesome.
definitely.
Well, let's see how the chicken comes together.
All right, well, fantastic. These have been in brine for 2 days. We use our Chardonnel wine and a lot of citrus and herbs from our herb garden. So we'll brine it for a couple days. And then we have our own little spice blend that we make up. Has everything from turmeric to cardamom to cinnamon to allspice to cloves. And we'll coat it really heavy because it's going to be handled a fair amount. It's going to get roasted in the oven. And then for our guests, so that you don't have to fight with the bones or whatever, we prefer to take all the bones out. And then we will use these bones for a second stock.
Absolutely. Never throw your bones away.
That's right.
So what are you going to pair with this?
I'm going to grab some vegetables and potatoes, and then that's what we'll serve it with.
Cool.
We have some zephyr, we have some gold bars, we have some zucchini, some bells. And so all we've done is just slightly seasoned them, tossed them in a little roasted garlic olive oil, roasted them off. I like to take some kind of greens and just wilt them in there. It'll also get finished off with our roasted chicken stock poured around it.
So you're using Chardonnel from the brine to the sauce, pair it up. I mean, this is like wine all the way through.
All the way through, from beginning to end, definitely.
I love it. Now, I heard that you have an outdoor kitchen up the hill. Is that right?
We do. We do a lot of weddings and a lot of events up the hill, and we can go up there and we'll cook at the barn.
So we're now in your outdoor kitchen. This is an actual like wood-fired grill and wood-fired oven that you have up
Right.
here.
Yeah, this is a live kitchen. We produce a lot of food out of this small little space.
And it's hot. I mean, this is an entire bed of coals. It's warm.
Yes, it is.
And you're going to do your pork chop?
Yes, we are. We're going to do the pork chop that's on the menu. The pork chop that we're using right now is kind of a cross between Red Wattle and Berkshire. And the spice rub that we're using is a toasted coriander. It has a little bit of salt, pepper, a touch of smoked paprika as well.
Nice.
Just a little hint of allspice that'd be hard to really pick up. So we kind of like to crust it up a little bit. We'll throw it on our grill, and then we'll finish it off in the wood-fired oven. And then after, we'll pull it out to rest, to do the vegetables, and then to glaze it with some of the wine.
All of this looks so amazing. You want to head back down to the tasting room and pair some wines?
Grab some wine.
All right, that's the best part. So we're in the tasting room to taste some wines, because that's what you do in the tasting room. And we're looking at a lot of different wines. Can you kind of tell me what we're going to taste?
Well, I think we should probably start off with our unoaked Chardonnay.
Okay.
And it's a great food wine. It's not oaked, so I prefer it for food.
I love this wine. It's so good. Light and bright, and lots of citrus, and really good acidity.
All right, next is our assemblage. And that's made with the Chambourcin grape as well, but it's blended with our Chardonnay. This is our port.
Missouri makes beautiful ports. Is this a Norton port?
This is.
I'm so glad this is my job. As beautiful and amazing as your food is, get a bottle of Chaumette wine, sit in front of the fire, eat all these beautiful...
That's right, I do it at least once a week.
I'm sure. Of course you do. I think it's about time we head into the kitchen and cook with wine ourselves. I'll see you in just a second. So in just about every season of Feast TV, I have some variation of this dish, and it's because I love it. It is chicken cooked with wine. And in this particular recipe, we're going to brown the chicken, skin on, bone in. That's the best way to have it. And we're gonna marry in some Mediterranean flavors with lemon and olives and garlic and a little bit of oregano. And of course, wine. And I'm going to be featuring a Chardonnay, also from our friends at Edg-Cliff. We visited them earlier in this episode. So to start off, I'm just gonna do a little bit of prep work. I'm gonna chop my onion, I'm gonna zest my lemon, and I'm also going to chop up my garlic and my mushrooms. So I'm heating up my pan. This is a nice heavy cast iron Dutch oven, and I'm just getting it to the point where when I put the chicken into the pan, it's gonna start browning. It's not just gonna sit there. So it's feeling like it's getting nice and warm, and I'm just going to salt and pepper. This is a whole cut up chicken. You can do it with just chicken thighs, you can do it with just chicken breasts, whatever you like, but I would recommend that you keep the skin and the bones, because that's where the flavor really is. So when you're browning chicken like this, you have to be patient. If you get a little bit too antsy and start moving the chicken around and kind of, messing with it, you won't get that beautiful caramelized crust, and that's really where you're gonna develop some deep flavors in this braise. So be patient, let it sit there, and then when it's ready, flip it over. Bronzed beauties off to the side and let them sit. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put my onions into the pan. It's on medium high. I'm going to saute this just until the onions start to get soft. I'm going to throw in my crushed garlic cloves now. And once the garlic releases its aroma, in go the mushrooms. For this dish, you can use any kind of mushroom that you like. You can use plain old button mushrooms, which I have some of those. I also have cremini, which are actually just baby portobello mushrooms. And then these are beautiful oyster mushrooms. Not only are they gorgeous, they have a really nice, almost spicy flavor to them. So they're gonna add even more flavor to this dish. just gonna toss in my mushrooms and get them nice and sauteed. Happiness is chicken, wine, onions, and mushrooms. Love the flavors in this dish. So my mushrooms are nice and cooked and soft and a little bit caramelized, and now I'm going to deglaze the pan with a good amount of this Chardonnel. I'm letting the wine reduce so it kind of concentrates the flavor and some of that alcohol cooks off. And then I'm going to add more liquid in the form of chicken stock. Now I'm going to stir in that lemon zest, some olives. These are just green olives. And a little bit of fresh oregano. This is up to a nice steady simmer slash boil. So I'm gonna go ahead, turn off the heat, put my chicken back in. I have the oven preheated to 350 degrees. This is gonna cook for about 45 minutes and then it will be done. Oh, it's gorgeous. I love dishes like this for dinner parties and on cold nights. This is the kind of food that just warms you up from the inside out, AKA comfort food. This is something that you want to serve with crusty bread and really good butter so you can dip in and get all that wonderful sauce. Of course, I'm going to pair the dish with the wine that the chicken was braised in. That Chardonnel from Edgecliff. It's really nice, it's fruity, and has a beautiful acidic backbone. Cheers to local wine. It's delicious to drink and to cook with.